welcome. These will be my thoughts on Hitmonkey, Season 1, Episode 4, The Code. The episode is rated TVMA, so this video will be... There will be spoilers for the episodes leading up to, including this one, another episode that I love. And yeah, let's dive right in. So, yeah, actually, I will just very briefly note, if you haven't already watched Man Carrying Things video on, I want to say it's called Pale Fire. My wrists are too sore to double check right now. I think it's something like that. Really excellent. I think it's my favorite of his in a while. Now, yeah, I guess I'll just say, pretty much every positive thing I've said about the show so far does apply to this episode as well. And yeah, so to get into the more or less, we'll see, chronological run through. So let's see if I can remember the first scene. I think it's that the episode starts with them arriving at the address and finding out what we saw, that it's going to be more difficult to just get in there than they, well, Bryce specifically thought. And the let's see, the monkey, once again, being a little bit too impulsive, doesn't understand about the electrified, thinks it just has to climb. And it's like, okay, this I can do. This is something I know how to. And Bryce, in this episode, has a really bad habit of just, like, turning his back on Monkey and not paying close attention to what Monkey is doing, which is very funny, as that gets them into problems. And let's see, yeah, so they once again have to Cape Fear their way. And let's see, I think that's when, yeah, so the dog, which is where we see that all animals can apparently communicate with each other in this world, which is genuinely such a fun concept. Anyway, yeah, so the let's see, yeah, the dog, is going freeze asshole, and then, I'll get you, you coward. I have your scent now. Something like that. Very, very nicely done. And the rat later. So yeah, and I really appreciated this conflict of, having a code as a killer. And the way that, yeah, for a while it looks like it's a bad idea, but it does end up, working out, and at times even helping. And I suppose... Okay, I'm just real quick gonna make sure... Let me think. There's I think that is when... Yeah, so they get into that one bit. I feel like that's when they cut and show us the... Yeah, because there's the... Let's see. We have the... Oh, yeah, that's the after... At the end of this scene, yeah. So, Bryce is like, okay, make sure you get through this fan while it's not running. Which makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, it's, yeah, Monkey is taking his sweet ape time, and thus the fan is turned back on before getting it, and then the thing, I love the build up to, because really he just wants to say I told you so, but he's like, I'm not gonna say it, it's too easy, I just really want to, okay, I told you so. And great transition, couple of those in this episode, between the what's the word, the fan running to, like, I think it was a drink or something, and that's the part where you know, the cop is talking to the yeah, and he's put on administrative leave because yeah, you know, it sounds ridiculous, and from someone who already has a history of struggling with alcohol, it sounds like he's gotten so drunk that he is just, you know, no longer perceiving reality, you know, clearly. And yeah, I like that there's a bit of a parallel being drawn between these two pairings, you know. Someone who's a veteran who doesn't want to be a mentor, and then the you know, this person who's learning the ropes. And because like they specifically say, you know, both mentors tell the other to tell their trainee rookie mistake about something. And yeah, I also like that you know, while the first rule is you know, do not talk about cop work, I mean, follow the leads, the second one is just no open-toed shoes. Which, I mean, I can appreciate that. Yeah, they would have their downsides in this line of work. It's been a while since I wore them, but isn't there something about they're worse to run in? I feel like that's a thing. And yeah, and I think yeah, and then you know, we see that some of his coworkers put one of those monkeys, presumably guessing that it is not the magic one from that, I guess by now no longer that recent horror movie that I saw a trailer for. But yeah, one of those that play an instrument, and then that transitions back into monkey. Very nicely done. And I think that is when monkey ends up inside the washing machine, which, like, yeah, you know, Bryce points out it's like an amusement park because he finds it amusing. And I do agree that he does look cool. I don't know, is it terrible to kind of hope that he doesn't get another suit? I think Monkey looks cooler with the sleeves off. In addition to, as Bryce says, it's a good look for prison, but yeah. And yeah, the dog did indeed find Monkey. And yeah, it gets zapped. And that is, of course, quite the mark in the con section of having a code. But it also gets them right inside the office that they were supposed to get into without even having to work really hard to find their way there. And yeah, I thought it worked well. This thing of, you know, the warden is like, I try to run a tight ship here at Fox River. I mean, who used the can? Because this is my private one, you know, and he's basically using monkey as, I want to say the Germans called it Prügelknabe. Basically, you know, if you can't punish the person you want to, you'll punish someone that you know the person you want to punish cares about. And yeah, that's because you know, if he can't prove that one of them used his toilet, and it's probably also, it's not a shockable offense, I can imagine, but you know, he is making it clear to them that they don't. Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, and Bryce is just standing there looking at the screen. He's like, "This is fantastic." Oh, right. Shock. You'll be fine. Listen, we've all been there, okay? You know, it's a very relatable situation you're in right now. And once again, monkey underestimated by someone, and yeah, that was genuinely cool. I love the shadow shot. God damn, you do not see enough of that these days. Like, I understand that, you know, not everybody finds it equally appealing today. Like, genuinely, leave it to like a comic book adaptation to actually have a shot like that. Because like, if you look at some older movies, they would occasionally have them, and they can be really, really impactful. Now, I think that pretty much does bring us to the yeah, and so he shocks the warden multiple times, and we're told that the accountant is in the area, that they had to Sona. Shit. God damn it. Not only do I love Prison Break, I'm rewatching it right now. How did I fucking forget? Whatever. Haven't made it to that part of the show yet. I guess that's my excuse for forgetting. Whatever. And I love the game Soma, so maybe that's part of. Anyway, yeah, and the thing about he drinks his own piss, like exclusively, like piss, drink it, which I don't know. I feel like we're not that many days away from that being like RFK Jr.'s new, you know, guidance for regular citizens. And to be clear, I'm not trying to stigmatize mental health problems. I'm talking about how he is absolutely not qualified for the job he has. But yeah, and they let's see, they go there, and yeah, very cool when Monkey hides on the ceiling, and stuff is thrown through, and then he rolls through. And yeah, leave it to Bryce. As soon as as soon as it's already too late, he's like, this might not have been the best idea. I think it's around here that we have the Mun character. And yeah, I will say, as soon as I saw the car, I was like, it's going to try to attack her. But we also didn't have to wait forever, and they were building tension and suspense nicely with it, because she almost immediately says, just go around, like as soon as it's not just immediately, it's very clear that something bad is going to happen. I was wondering if they were gonna, like, if the door would open and they would try to grab her or something, but I think even for the show, the physics of that, like grabbing someone while they're riding their bike at high speed like that, probably not gonna happen. But yeah, and then we have the let's see, yeah, and so she wants, let's see, she wants to bring she wants to tell the press, and I do sadly think the Takei character is, his instincts are right here, that it would just make them look bad and their opponent look good. Because yeah, they can just say, what, it was the driver acting out of, I can't control everything people who work for me do. And and there's the thing about, like, the possibility of police report, but they're in the pocket of, I want to say they called him Ozu, the other politician, and I think that is the right. And of course, by this point, the rookie has already said, no, but what about your responsibility or something? He's like, I've been put on administrative leave. Barring the bar, I have no responsibilities. And right, I think I also missed the part. Yeah, it was great when Monkey went up to the rat, and yeah, I do really appreciate the empathy shown towards, because, like, listen, obviously we don't like rats, at least not like these kind of, let's see, I feel like I've heard that some people have rats as pets. I'm not going to judge that, but like a rat in, living in an area that also has people, unfortunately we do know that can mean, like, that could be a bad thing, for various reasons. But I think we can still agree those traps are not very humane, And yeah, this episode shows why. And I appreciate it. At first it looks like, oh, that was a bad idea because like bites Monkey, but then later apologizes and explains why. And yeah, that was great. And I think that is. Oh, well, I like the line about, it's like HPV, everybody has it. Or we all have it, something like that. And the thing about, you can't be distracted by your humanity or your monkey-anity. You know what I mean. And I think that does... Oh, it was also very funny when he has to guide Monkey through, okay, don't paw mash. No, I said not to paw mash. I feel like I'm setting up my grandfather's TiVo. And let's see, I think that does pretty much get us to, yeah. So in the ring, we see the accountant, we see all the others, and yeah, it was very funny with the thing about these guys are addicted to candy. Oh, drugs. They're addicted to drugs. That makes more sense. And yeah, the thing about, you have been sentenced to death and it will be carried out by Fat Cobra. And yeah, Bryce, you need to work on your pep talk, buddy. That is remarkably terrible. Like I didn't know you could go that far beyond the bottom of the barrel. But he's basically just like saying, "Oh, you're gonna lose." I mean, that's I'm not even exaggerating here. You're toast. It was nice knowing you. And let's see. Damn, Monkey does get shocked a bunch this episode. Good thing he's sturdy as shit. And let's see that. Yeah, and very clever about destroying the pipe so that water and electricity. Yeah, and then accountant tries to turn it around by saying, "Oh no, yeah, we have a new winner, and this means that that's." So yeah, he's gonna try to have Monkey kill the Fat Cobra, and Fat Cobra is like, "I only did what you asked because you gave me booze. I have no loyalty to you either." And yeah, this is when it starts being proven that the code actually does work, because Monkey sparing Fat Cobra means that now Fat Cobra helps. And yeah, I don't know how Monkey would have been able to get that close to Accountant without someone stopping him along the way. So very nicely done on that, and clever to set fire to yeah, that'll do it. That's gonna cause enough chaos. And then he goes into like his own little area, and it's like he's first he's trying to barter with Monkey, and then some of the cons come in, and then he's like just delivering the world's most obvious lie that's genuinely funny. But I'll briefly note, so yeah, he talks about hey, if this is that hit on Ken, that we saw in the first episode, Bryce take out, I told Rooster that was a bad idea. So now they have another name. And yeah, very nicely done. We're continuing on just, gradually unraveling this entire thing. And because evidently, based on that line, that phrasing, Rooster did not agree. That Rooster made the decision to still take him out. So that's where they go next. I'm guessing next episode, probably. They're at least going to try to. And let's see, we also have the... But yeah, so, the cons come in, and he's like, this must be the warden's secret room. What an asshole, am I right? There's a portrait right behind you. You have to sit for that. That's how long he... Yeah. Jesus Christ. And I love because these genuinely like if he hadn't been this arrogant asshole, like I don't even I understand in theory the idea of having someone make a portrait of you. But keeping it and having it on your own wall behind you, come on, man. That's just like, listen, if you're having your portrait made so that you can give that as a present to someone that you care about, that cares about you, that would want that, that's great, but this kind of thing, and yeah, it ends up like he gets beat to death because he was such an arrogant asshole, so that's, yeah, because maybe it would have been a convincing lie if not for that. And also him betraying Fat Cobra. If he hadn't done that, Fat Cobra wouldn't have helped Monkey. And let's see. Yeah. So we don't see it, but we do hear flesh ripping. So yeah, that was a brutal way to die for the accountant. His piss will go undrunk. And I think that does lead us to the I feel like that's when we cut back to the cops maybe, and there's the thing about like, okay, so there's a there's a riot at the prison, and they ask them to spell monkey just to make absolutely sure that it really is that, and yeah, now they're gonna follow that lead so they can continue on that, and now it's like a sign of victory, the monkey toy. And yeah, so the rat helps out and explains, and yeah, it's that thing of hurt people, in this case animals, and it even brought the gun back. And then this thing of like, it's almost kind of sweet, this thing of like, oh, my friend here, I hope you get the help you need. That's, I don't know, that's a little sweet. Like it's a joke in the episode, but the fact that the character isn't an asshole about it, thinking like, oh, you have a mental health problem, and actually showing sympathy, genuinely, like, that's also, you know, great to see that. Want to see more of that in the real world as well. And let's see, yeah, and the thing about, shit, literally. And then as soon as they get out, yeah, it does look like, okay, I guess we could have just waited for the cons to break it. Oh, no, never mind. They got gunned down one by one. And Bryce being like, okay, listen, I don't think you can really find something about, like, some kind of moral from the events of this episode, I mean day. And eventually he relents and is like, okay, fine. And I think that does bring us to the yeah, I like the thing about like, okay, you can't just come up with your own nickname, like if I just called myself Horsecock, it wouldn't be the same. Like it was only because other people said it as well. Wow. And yeah, and the thing about, she did indeed get some police protection. And yeah, the cat wants Monkey to leave, but the Mun character does trust somewhat, but does also note that he smells, stinks. And yeah, it was genuinely nice of her. She leaves this little I'm not sure exactly what it is, but some fruit, I guess, on the front there, so the monkey can come back. And also like Bryce afterwards being like, yeah, he's a little shy. She can't hear you. And also the part with, because of the ghost story, I'm an actual ghost. Why aren't they telling stories about me? And you're like my vice president. He's the one killing people right now, though, dude. Like, you're more like the co-pilot, if we're being honest. And I think that does pretty much, yeah. And she thanks Monkey for what he did at the funeral. And I'm genuinely interested to see where this is going to go. So the cops, are on the trail of Monkey, but Mun is, has some degree of trust with Monkey. And, as Bryce puts it right now, the Mun character is the only one that Monkey trusts. Perhaps because the first couple of letters of his character name and her actor's last name, if not literally the exact same letters, are pronounced the same. But I think that does pretty much cover the. They also did a great job on the dog looking really vicious, and I think that is just about everything for this episode. Okay, I'm just real quick gonna mentally fast forward through the entire thing to see if there's anything that I missed. I continue to really appreciate the way that it is like just feeling out things and just trying to figure out, what are the limitations. And this idea of, yeah, the code. I quite appreciate that because, like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, it's one thing that Bryce is just, fine with killing just anyone, but that's not who Monkey wants to be. And Monkey still does have a choice. Monkey does not have to kill everyone he comes across. And I quite appreciated the episode validating the viewpoint that it is possible to do something that is, questionable ethically in a way that is more ethical than, otherwise. Because, it absolutely could have, like, at the end of the day, that dog is just doing its job. And I suppose, whereas, like, the warden was torturing an animal that was completely at his mercy. And let's see, but yeah, once Bryce accepts that Monkey's gonna have a code, they have that thing about, like, killer of killers. Okay, fair enough. That is pretty badass. I wonder if they'll ever make a Predator movie called that, and it might be one of the best yet.